The greatest lie ever told to us as children is, if you want to be successful, work hard. Yet, the hardest workers usually get paid the least. And that is why this is a lie. And I'm about to show you what to do instead that can make you rich, because it's what made me rich, and it's not hard work. My name is Dan Henry, and I went from broke to millionaire, and I love sharing all the lessons and stupid mistakes made along the way. I'm gonna share with you a story of how I made over $1 million in a single day. And I'll give you a framework of how you can do this for yourself. Maybe not $1 million, but you can make a decent amount if you do what I'm about to show you. And maybe eventually one day it'll get to a seven-figure level. But it'll make you a lot more than working hard, that's for sure. So before I get to that, I want you to think about this. If a bricklayer says, I have 40 years experience laying brick. No, you do not have 40 years experience laying brick. It takes 2 weeks to learn how to lay brick. You have 40 years experience settling for laying brick. You see, the bricklayer worked his butt off laying brick. He worked hard. But who made the money? It wasn't him. It was the guy that got a bunch of people to give him money to build a structure that he hired the bricklayer to build, and then he sold that structure and made millions of dollars using other people's money to fund it. Now, how did he do that? It sure as heck wasn't hard work. No, it was something else. And it's the same thing that made me a millionaire, and it's the same thing that can cause you to level up far faster than any of your friends, especially if they are hard workers. And I'll share the framework for how you can do this for yourself in a moment. But first, the story of how I made $1 million in a day. So it was the very first month of the pandemic where everybody was scared, everybody was freaked out, everybody was holding on to their money. And I had a business. Now, before you click off, you don't need a business to do this. This is just one way you can do it. But in my case, I had a business, I had a product to sell. And so I had planned to hold this live event where I was going to sell tickets, and I was going to get a bunch of people to come to that live event. I was going to teach them a bunch of cool stuff about my expertise, and then I was going to make them an offer to work with me over the course of the next year by having more of these little events. And the price tag for that was $30,000 for the year. And I almost canceled it because I didn't expect the whole world to shut down. And so I was forced, if I wanted to do the event, to do it from my dining room with a camera, much like the camera that I'm using right now, and nothing more than a whiteboard. And I almost didn't do it, but I decided to do it. And I got 158 people on a Zoom room. And I taught for 2 days. So you could say it was 2 days, not 1 day, but whatever. I taught for 2 days. I explained some concepts of my expertise to them. And at the end of the second day, I made an offer. I said, hey, if you guys would like to meet with me over the course of the next year and have me help you with this aspect of this and this aspect of that, then give me $30,000. And 34 people said yes. That's $1,020,000. Now you might say, well, Dan, I'm not a business guru. I don't have anything like that to sell. Well, I'll tell you another time I made over $3,000 in a day, and this was before I knew jack squat. So over a decade ago, there was a company called HostGator. And HostGator was a website, they might still be around, website hosting platform, where if you wanted to say have a website or a blog, you would pay them X amount of dollars per month, and you would host your website on their servers. Web hosting, pretty normal product. Well, they had an affiliate program where if you referred someone through your special link, and if you don't know what an affiliate program, it's where you sign up as a partner with a company, they give you a special link with a code attached to it. And if you say, hey, you should get a website, you should buy HostGator, here's my link, when you sign up, I get a commission. Well, HostGator was offering a $150 commission for anyone that signed up during a certain period. So I rented out a room at the cheapest hotel in Spring Hill, Florida. It was maybe $200 for the entire day. And it was a conference room. And I posted on Craigslist and I posted on Facebook. I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this free event on how to start a blog. Now, mind you, it's not hard to start a blog. You create a WordPress website, you log in, and you start blogging. But most people don't know how to do that. It only took me about a week to learn WordPress and learn how to start a blog. But I took the week to learn it, and most people don't. So when I held this event, I had people coming to it for free that simply wanted to learn more about blogging. So I taught them all day all about blogging. Like, here's how you post, here's some things you can talk about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I had very limited knowledge on this, but I had just a bit more knowledge than the people coming in. And to them, that was fine because they could learn from somebody quickly and not have to research it all themselves. Well, at the end of the event, they all wanted to blog, but they needed something in order to blog. They needed web hosting. They needed to purchase web hosting, create a blog, and start blogging. So I said, hey guys, if you'd like to create your web hosting account today and say thank you for this event, you can sign up with my link. And so I got a bunch of people to sign up with my link all at once, and I made $3,000 in a day. Why? Because the $150 commissions all added up, and granted, they usually pay you 30 days later, but still 30 days later, I got around $3,000. And I only had to front the $200 for a month. But see, in the same situation, I did the same thing. I got people to a room, I said some cool stuff, and then I got them to buy something. Now, of course, the first time I made like $3,000, and the second time I made $1 million, but there was a lot of times I did that same thing in between where I made more and more and more and more and more because I built up my skills. I went from selling somebody else's product to creating a product for myself and selling that, et cetera, et cetera. So it didn't happen overnight, but the key here is that I didn't work hard. I used my mouth. See, the people in this world that make the most money, they make it not with their hands, they make it with their mouth. And no, I'm not talking about OnlyFans girls. I'm talking about communicators. I'm talking about speakers. I'm talking about salespeople. I'm talking about the people who do all the work with this. Think about the people that make the most money. They're generally musicians, actors, or they're some sort of politician, or even Steve Jobs, when he built Apple, he was holding these live events and he was pitching Apple to the world using this. See, if you can learn how to communicate, you will always, always make more money than the person who uses their hands to make money. So think about what you do right now and think about the amount of money you make. Do you use your hands to do it? If so, that's probably why you're not making as much money as you'd like to make. All right, so I promised you the framework for this. And keep in mind, you can use this framework whether or not you have a product, whether or not you're just starting out, or whether or not you have a business and you want to get more people into that business. This is a 4-part framework. The first part is you must find an offer. Now, if you have some sort of service-based business, consulting-based business, event-based business, or heck, any business, then you're done. You literally have an offer, okay? I'll give you an example. Years ago, I would help martial arts studios grow their business, and most of them would run advertising or post on social and just get people to come in for a free class. And what I always did was I said, why not hold a free women's self-defense class? Or why not hold a free kids event where you get some bounce houses and things like that, and you get a bunch of kids there at once, you do a free class, and then at the end, you make an offer. And when you make the offer, you say, hey, if you sign up today, you get a free uniform and a free this and a free that. Well, what happens is when one of the kids or one of the parents says, yes, I'm signing up, everybody else sees them sign up, they get fear of missing out, and they all sign up at once. So see, it's the same thing. You got a bunch of people in a room and you made an offer. So part 1 of this framework is you either have an offer or you find an offer. So if you have a martial arts studio, if you have some sort of business, boom, you're done. But if you don't have an offer, you need to find one. And the easiest way to do that is to find an offer you can sell and get an affiliate commission. Or you can take the next 2 weeks or even the next month and learn a skill that most people don't know how to do, but a fair share of people would want to learn how to do. Let me give you an example. Just one thing is Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets or a Canva. Do you know how many people want to make their own graphics online, but they don't know how to use a tool like Canva or Photoshop? You could literally take the next month of your life and learn how to use any tool you can think of. You could hold a live Zoom room, you could teach a few things, and then at the end you could say, hey, here's an offer, come join me for this class or this course or this other Zoom room where we're gonna go in and I'm gonna work with you guys, et cetera, et cetera. Or hey, don't wanna do it yourself? We have a graphic design service. Boom. I mean, you could learn these skills incredibly quick. It only took me a week to learn how to start a blog, install WordPress, and launch a blog. It took me 1 week. And I made $3,000 just getting them to sign up for the web hosting so that they can install it, because they didn't want to take the week. They could have easily done that themselves if they would have taken the week to do it, but they didn't. And that is the key here, guys. Most people don't want to take the time to learn something. They want you to spoon feed it to them. So if you are the one person that will go out and just learn the darn thing, you can then charge for the people who are willing to get it spoon fed. And it doesn't even have to be a big thing. So that's the first part of the framework, is find an offer. The second part of the framework is get people to a room. This could be anything from selling tickets to a live or virtual event, or it could be free. You could just post on Facebook, you could post on local groups, you could run Facebook ads, you could do it at a local hotel. You can rent out these conference rooms for a few $100. You could do it for free on Zoom. You could hold it on a Zoom room like a webinar or a virtual event. But you get people to a room where they want to learn something that you're going to teach. Then comes the third part of the framework. You educate them on the first problem. Every journey in life has a first problem, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth. So let's just say that I was teaching people how to become professional speakers. Well, one of the problems is, okay, what should I speak on? How do I design a talk? How do I find people who are willing to hire me to speak? Where can I speak? Like, there's all these problems to becoming a paid speaker. Just like with losing weight, there's all kinds of problems. There's nutrition, meal timing, there's exercise, there's balancing it with your day, there's hydration, there's so many problems with anything you want to do in life. So you cover one of those problems in depth at the event, where you cover it so well, you impress them. They're like, wow, they really covered this problem. And that comes to the fourth part of the framework, where you offer them a paid solution to the rest of the problems. So if I invited you to an event where I taught you how to become a paid speaker, and I don't do that, by the way, this is theoretical. I might show you all the places that hire speakers. I might show you what you can make as a speaker. I might show you how to pitch this and that. But then the obvious question is, hey, how do I design a talk? How do I make my talk good? How do I negotiate my prices? All right, well, I have this retreat over here, or this course, or this workshop, or whatever, where I'm gonna cover how to create your talk, how to do that. I mean, look at timeshare people. They do the same model, and that's because they're using their mouth to communicate. They're communicating, and that's how they're making the money. I've seen people do free fitness classes and turn them into personal training clients. I've seen people do free classes on Excel and then sell something. It literally could be anything, even if you just learned it, because believe me, there are people who will never take that week to learn something. And if you're that person, you now can charge for their laziness. Doing this has made me money constantly, over and over and over again, or some iteration of this in my life and in my career. And if you want to become rich, if you want to become wealthy, and you want to stop working with your hands and start working with your mouth, learn how to communicate, and then find something to monetize with that skill of communication. And you will never, ever, ever be broke again if you master this.